What up, everybody? I'm Mike. This is James, and this is another episode of the Disasterpiece Theater. Roll the intro. This week we watched a double feature of the 80s B sex romp comedies, Screwballs. Roger Corman produced Porky's ripoffs, we should say, Screwballs, and Loose Screws, Screwballs 2. So, disclaimer right up front.
Yes, we are not misogynistic.
I mean, we are straight males, but more so I would say it isn't a representation of who we are, but we get that these films are that. We're not going to give them one-word reviews saying they're chauvinistic. We understand that they are, but they are films, and we have to talk about the other elements in them. So, the first film I felt was a better film overall than the second.
Totally. Even though the transfer wasn't quite as done as well, technically, like as far as cinematography and things like that go, the second one is far superior.
Yes.
But when it comes to jokes and writing and everything else, it just wasn't really there. It's not terrible.
No.
I mean, it's watchable. But the first one, I would say it's not on par with Porky's.
Yeah.
But it is a good alternative to Porky's.
Yeah.
If you're looking for that type of movie.
And it's worth noting that the second one might just be better because it was 4 years later.
Yeah.
So that's why the quality might be better.
They probably had more money to spend.
A little bit more. And noticeably 4 years later because of our two returning actors. The only two returning actors from the first film who have noticeably aged beyond high school. They didn't look like high schoolers in the first one. And
they weren't really the main two characters anyway.
They were the two supporting characters.
Yeah, two supporting characters. And it's like, well, this is all we can get, so you guys are the stars now.
Yeah, one of them has a receding hairline.
Yeah.
That he didn't have in the first film.
Well, that's why they say in the movie, they're like, this is your fourth year of 12th grade. So they're trying to let us know, that they're in their 20s now. But still, even 22, let's say he's 22.
They're saying, we see it's weird that you have a receding hairline and you're in high school.
But even at 22, it's kind of early.
But what's funny about this is they never even specify that these guys are trying to get laid, such as the guys in Porky's and American Pie. These guys are just trying to see girls naked. And
one girl in particular.
Yes.
Charity?
I believe that is her name.
Yeah. Charity Bush.
That is her name. Almost every scene of both of these movies is written out as an innuendo.
Yeah.
To a degree, I respect the challenge that laid out. But I also understand that you could say just about anything and make it an innuendo if you change the tone and the way you say it.
Yeah.
So it's not that impressive.
Much more nudity in the first one, I thought. Or higher quality nudity, anyway.
I think that the first film was clearly a bigger production. So they lured in a lot more actors and a lot more talented people. I don't want to be the person to describe beauty as talent, but I think they drew in a larger crowd of people.
But it's so weird that the second film is superior when it comes to the technical side of things. You know what I mean? You think they, like you said, it was 4 years that had passed, but you think if they had that much more money on the first one that it would have been a tighter looking film. But I guess that all depends on, the cinematographer and the director and all that stuff.
Almost every one of their schemes, their ridiculous schemes, is just to see women naked. It's not to get laid. It is just to get a peek at naked women.
The Coke can scene on the beach, that was like a little bit ridiculous.
All of their schemes were ridiculous. First, the mirror scheme that the guy does at the very beginning makes no sense. He used
But she was in the second one too. He's like sort of the evil genius or the mastermind of the group.
He used like 9 different mirrors to see girl's panties underneath a staircase, which you don't have to look, you know, if you've ever gone to get your hair cut and had to look in the mirror behind your head, in the mirror in front of you, you know that if you tried to do that through 8 more mirrors, it would almost be impossible. And then the other scheme they come up with is the Coke cam scheme, where they... You explain this one.
Oh, I don't want to, dude. I don't want to. It's so stupid.
They're all stupid, and they all would not work and don't serve a point.
So the chunky guy, which... Every one of these kind of films has to have a chunky guy.
Oh, yeah.
Even in Animal House, you know, there was the chunky guy. Well, there was a couple chunky guys in Animal House, but...
There was more than one.
So they decided to bury him in sand.
Yes.
To the neck.
Mm-hmm.
They even bury his face.
Yes, they do.
And they give him a little straw to breathe through, and somehow a Coke can to look through, but it really... It really doesn't show you how he's seen.
Yeah. They again, I think, imply that they've put mirrors in the Coke cans and turned it into a kind of periscope so that he can see... And again, they've done this so that he can see the breasts of the girl that they're all trying to see naked throughout the whole movie. Bush. But the only thing they do this on a beach because they know the spot where she lays down to tan.
Yeah.
But it's a spot where that she lays down to tan and she doesn't ever remove her top.
Right.
So literally he's just doing this to see her cleavage.
Yeah.
As if there was no easier way to look at a girl's cleavage.
Right. But what happens is a volleyball game takes place.
Oh, and a dog pees on him. Yeah, every one of their schemes has a lot of things go wrong. The scheme kind of works, but then has something go drastically wrong.
He became like an amateur hypnotist?
Yes, that was the nerdy one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thought he could lure her into the pool and hypnotize her.
And then there was the Spanish fly in the punch bowl.
Yep. Yeah, a guy put Spanish fly in a punch bowl and ended up turning the entire dance into kind of an orgy.
Yeah, and at the very end, you finally see the girl's tits they've been wanting to see the entire time, and to be honest with you, they were kind of lackluster.
Well, that was an 80s thing. The very small, perky boobs thing was very much an 80s film trend.
Yeah. But like you said, as soon as you see the boobs, the
credits roll up. And I had that thought as we're watching it. I said, these boobs are going to show up, and then immediately credits are going to roll. And that's exactly what happened. And the scheme that they do at the very end, again, it made no sense. They used magnets.
Yeah.
And it made it look like there was a windstorm in the gymnasium. And
somehow they weaved her bra with some sort of magnetic fiber, and a gigantic magnet was supposedly going to rip off this bra or whatever and reveal her cleavage. Also, a lot of felonies that took place in this film.
Yeah.
I mean, assault, sexual assault, invasion of privacy.
Trespassing, breaking and
entering. And what about the teachers who were trying to hit? The girls too.
The principal who was trying to hit on the girls.
They were all trying to hit on her. And then, how about the female teacher who was sitting on she was like a science teacher.
Yeah.
Who was sitting on one of the guys.
Yeah. And then, I mean, the whole movie is ridiculous, absolutely. Yeah. But I will give the movie the credit to say it never slowed down. I was never at any point bored.
I chuckled. I mean,
it stayed entertaining through the whole thing, as ridiculous as it was. It kept me entertained and kept me watching. So for that reason alone, I think it's worth it more than a lot of the comedies that you and I have watched.
Yeah, a lot of dick jokes.
For this movie, I think we've watched a lot of 80s B comedies, many of which we haven't even done reviews of, simply because we just didn't feel that there was enough to say about them. Yeah. They weren't bad, they weren't good, they just weren't interesting enough to talk about.
Yeah, it's not quite as good as Revenge of the Nerds, I don't think. And it's not quite as good as Porky's. But, like I said, if you've seen those and you're looking for something that's similar, I think this is a viable option.
Yeah. The second one...
Fails, as most sequels do. But it wasn't a horrible failure. I mean...
No, it wasn't terrible, but This one I found myself bored at points.
Yeah.
It seemed like a lot of rehashing.
Forced.
Very forced. I didn't find the two new guys who join our group, I didn't find either of them very interesting.
No, they didn't have any charisma.
None.
And actually the first cast, the complete cast, had a lot of chemistry.
Yeah, they had a fair amount of it, and this cast did not.
Yeah, I didn't feel any bonding with the guys at all, you know?
No.
I was going to talk about the bowling alley scene, but that's in the first movie.
Well, we can talk about the bowling alley scene.
I kind of like the bowling alley scene.
Bowling alley scene was kind of funny. It was weird in that they had a strip bowling competition.
Yeah.
In the middle of a public bowling alley, and they're high schoolers.
What happens is the nerdy guy, somebody throws a bowling ball and it gets stuck in his penis gets stuck in one of the holes.
Correct.
And these girls lick his face until he has an orgasm, and then the bowling ball sort of shoots off like a rocket.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We should say that the girls try to turn him on. Like, a bunch of girls don't just walk over and start licking his face. That's not the whole thing. They all do different things to try and arouse him.
Yeah. And the girls, oddly enough, you'd think there would be like a sisterhood of girls, but they were like really trying to help the guy see Charity Bush's tits.
Yeah, in the first film it made sense because I think they were trying to imply that none of the girls liked her.
Yeah. Because she was kind of a preppy bitch.
Yeah.
Uptight, preppy bitch.
Right. Right. And we should point out, and they try to follow the same formula in the second one, there's a teacher that the guys spend the whole movie trying to see. And in the second one, the girls all kind of team up with them in the end too, but it makes no sense because they weren't friends with any of the girls throughout the movie like the guys were in the first movie.
Yeah, and you get to see the teacher naked anyway through a majority of the film.
Yeah.
It's not like she wasn't, she was uptight about her body or anything.
Right. But they end it the exact same way. The teacher's on stage, gets stripped, and then the credits roll.
Well, no. Except the added scene. It ends the exact same way, except for the rock performance that we had to have.
Oh, yes. Yes. The completely out of place. After the teacher's on stage and gets stripped, everybody kind of runs off, and then all of a sudden on stage there appears a rock band starring our four main characters, and they proceed to play a song, which, again, is just an 80s thing of let's end the movie with a rock song, even though these guys have shown no interest in music throughout the entire film.
In fact, at one point, one guy's sitting on a bed strumming a guitar, and it sounds so hideous, he gives up and puts it back into the case and puts it under the bed. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was very strange, and not a good song either.
None of them were. The first one had a lot of good songs. The second one, oof.
Yeah, the second one was pretty bad. Well, they spent all the money on their cameras and their cinematographer.
Yeah.
They didn't have any music budget on the second one. So yeah, I found the first film to be very watchable. The second film, not so much.
Yeah, and you had the perverted teacher in the second one also.
Correct. But again, the second one, they tried to just do the same thing.
It's the exact same movie,
but it fails because
there's no chemistry.
None.
That's the whole problem with the movie.
And even though all the schemes in the first one were ridiculous, all the schemes in this one were ridiculous, but also carried on way too long and made even less sense as to why this would be working at all.
Yeah.
The guy was in the girl's room. Supposedly our lead was in the girl's dormitory dressed as a girl for a good 15 minutes of the film.
Even takes a bath with one of the other girls.
Yeah.
Because she can't see without her contacts.
And it really doesn't amount to anything, honestly.
It was for no reason at all.
No.
It's not like he got to see really anything.
Right.
It was shoddy writing. I think it was probably written in a week, and they said, we need a Screwball sequel.
Sure.
I've seen worse. I have. I mean,
Yeah.
It wasn't so. There's been movies that we've had to fast forward through before.
Oh, definitely.
And this was not one of them. I mean, we could tolerate this all the way through.
Yeah.
So I like them both. I like the first one. I think the first one is much more superior. The second one has better cinematography and better direction. But the line delivery, the chemistry, and the charisma all goes to the first one.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it does. So that's it. That's our view on both of these. I really liked the first one. I didn't like the second one all that much. It wasn't terrible, but I wasn't really a fan of it.
Same here.
Both of these films, however, are Severn Blu-rays. You can get them from the Severn website or from Amazon.
Didn't you say you got a deal because you got both of those? Or?
I did on the Severn website, which makes it sound like we're doing a plug, like a paid plug, which we're not. But you can get both of these on the Severn website for $35, which is what I did. And
we like what we like, so if we'll plug something if we like it.
Yeah, and we
love Severn.
Tend to like Severn Blu-rays, so we plug them. I mean, really, we're just telling you where you can get it. If you decide that you want to watch these, that's where you can get these. So, that's it. That's another episode of Disasterpiece Theater. Mike, James, we'll catch you next time.